Alright, so we've been playing a bit with Raylib on this channel and some of the videos, and I thought it would be interesting to actually try to use Raylib for what it was intended, which is to make a game. Now there's probably like 3 things that are hard about making a game, and like one is, let's try to zoom in. So one is game design, like what is the game about, how does it play, things like that. Then there's the art, and let me get rid of Copilot. And then there's the programming. So if we try to so I've never done any game design, game development before. And if we try to tackle all 3 of these at once, it's gonna be too hard. So the art we're gonna avoid by downloading an asset pack. I've already done this. I just googled the game assets and then clicked the first link, and I found something that was free and relatively interesting. The game design, we cannot really get 100% around that, but we'll just do something super simple. And then there's the programming, which is what we're going to focus on. And I have tried just like for 5 minutes to use Unity and Godot, and I never tried Unreal Engine, but I tried those other engines, and one thing I don't like about them is that it feels like you have to do things their way. Like you cannot just draw a pixel to the screen. You have to do some gymnastics to get it working. If you're really good at them, probably it's better to use those. I don't know, but just as an experiment, I want to see how far can we get with Raylib, which I think has the virtue of being simple. Like if you want to draw a rectangle, you just draw a rectangle. If you want to use a shader, you just use a shader. There's nothing strange going on. So let's actually, before we do this, well, now we started, so let's just get a hello world running. So we have everything basically set up. So I usually use this run.sh and set E. So we want to include Raylib, and we want to also link to it, and I think that's it. Now at this point I actually do want Copilot. It's quite helpful in a lot of cases. So for example here, I don't think we need these kind of build flags. Use C99. I don't know. Let's maybe C11 is better. All warnings. Let's be pedantic and also extra. And then we'll say we'll link. And I think these are the things we need. We link to Raylib. Raylib needs to link to OpenGL. We need the math library. We need the threading library. We need the dynamic linking for, I don't know why. I don't remember why. This one, don't know. Let's remove X11. I don't think we need that. So now let's compile it. And then we need all the flags. And then we're gonna run it. Okay, so let's see if we can just run this. Okay, it ran. We call run.sh, it compile it, and we say hello game. Let's try to be a little bit more advanced and say game, and we can let just Copilot do this. I should have waited. Close window. And we need to include Raylib before we can do anything. And here we go. So now we have the basic thing up and running. Let's now take a look at the asset pack. So as I said, I just Googled something and gave me this thing. And let's have a look at this character and tileset thing. So you can see kind of what it looks like. It's like kind of like a dungeon crawler thing. Can we zoom full screen? Oh, I didn't want to do that. Maybe we have to do like zoom. Can I just zoom? Okay, so you do zoom 200%, and it did something at least. So this is kind of what we have to work with. These are like some basic elements we can use to make a map. And there's also an example, this demonstration. What other zoom options are there? Like maybe you do zoom fill. Yeah, that's the one. So here is okay, it's a bit annoying. Okay, maybe zoom max is the right one. Specify max, like saying auto zoom. Okay, so actually we need, it's the better one. So here's kind of like a map you can make. And here's some of the characters that are included. So the first thing we'll do in this video is just make some kind of tooling for drawing a map. And we will just stick to square rooms right now, I think. So I think I want to have like a separate file to do that stuff that we just call graphics.c, and we'll have a function that's called initialize graphics. So let's, now I have to zoom out, so do that, and then we'll have graphics.c. And there's going to be initialize graphics. And what will that do? So I should also open the raylib header. Now we have this image file, so we need to load that. And let's call it tileset image, and we'll load image from assets. And what was it called? It was called character and tileset and dungeon tileset. So we've loaded it. And then to draw it, you need a texture. The reason for that is that that is kind of like a GPU concept of a texture. So basically we transfer the image to the GPU. That's at least the way I think of it. So we need to say texture 2D, tileset texture, load texture from image, and with that image we just made. Okay, so we actually also need a function that is called let's call it dinit graphics, And maybe we also want kind of like a struct of graphics data that will have the image and the texture, and we'll have a global variable like that. And here we'll say graphics data, and that's it. And here we're just gonna unload the texture and then unload the image. And inside main, we should also remember to call the init graphics. So this is kind of stuff that Copilot is really good at and saves us a lot of time. Okay, so we have the graphics. Let's try to actually draw it. So there's a draw texture, and there is a draw texture rectangle. I think we want to use Pro because it lets us specify a source. We definitely need that because if you remember, no, not that one, but dungeon tile set. To draw this what do you call it? To draw a map, you basically need to select subparts of this image. So if you want a chest like this, look, this kind of like a chest, you need to select just this part of the image. So that's the source parameter. The destination is where we want to draw it. Then there's some stuff that's related to rotations, and we're not going to use this. And tint is changing the color. We're also not going to use this. But we need this source and destination, and this draw texture pro is the simplest one that lets us do that. So let us just try to do that. Now, right now we're just calling directly into the into this graphics data, but I don't want to do that. Later on we want to draw, we want to use what do you call it, some like convenience functions to do that. So okay, what's the source? Let's go in here and let's add another one that is tileset size and graphics. This is wrong. So we have to figure out what is the size of this thing. And I wonder if we can just, so 160 by 160 sounds right. So let's do graphics data dot tileset size, and the destination is going to be the whole window. And here we'll have a 0 vector, 0 of that, and then just white. Okay, let's try to run that. And we need graphics data. Okay, so now you see we were able to draw the texture and it automatically upscaled it, and because of the default settings of Raylib, it kind of still looks like pixel art. Because when you upsample it, you have to decide how you do the upsampling. And there's multiple ways, and there are some ways that like smoothen out the edges, but here we use a method that doesn't do that, so it still looks like pixel art. Okay, so that's great, but now I want a function to draw draw something. And I basically I have an idea which we'll try. So this is just called draw, and it will draw. So we need an enum that is called. Let's call it entity. It's a bit weird. I'll just call it element for now. And for example, there will be a room. And that will be this guy. And we'll use kind of like a bit flag. And the reason should become clear soon. So let's try something like this. Door left open like that. Okay. Because we also have these doors, right? Let me look at the demonstration again. All right, anyway. Actually, let's, yeah, that's fine. So what we will draw here is something, and we're gonna draw it we are going to draw it. Yeah, for now, let's draw it at a certain point. So let's get rid of all that. Oh. Okay, so now we can say if this thing is not equal to 0, so if that bit is set, we're gonna draw a room. So let's go back and look at the tile map, tile set. Actually, something else we should probably do is look at it in this program, because it lets us see kind of the sizes. And I've looked at this already, and each of these, it's kind of made out of little 16 by 16 squares. So for example, well, this one doesn't look 16 by 16. Ah, yeah, it is. So for example, this one, you can see we can count it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 6 by 5. So now GIMP is screwing up. So anyway, that means that we can say the room source is, if we go back and look at the tile set, it starts up here. So the source is 0, 0, and then we'll have tile size 16. So the room itself is, what did we say? We said it's 6 by 5. And the destination is going to be this. So we place it at this position, and then we'll simply draw texture pro using the loaded texture from the source to the destination and all that. So now we have this interface, and we can say in here, instead of this, we can say draw, and we're going to draw a room at 0, 0. And we have to type def this, I guess. Okay, now we drew a room up there. So one thing I think we should just include from the beginning is a scale factor. So here we go, and we will just multiply it here, and I think that should do it. Now we can scale it by a factor of 10, for example, and it's quite big. So maybe 2 is fine. So we can draw a room. Now we can also say, let's draw a room, and let's draw a door on the left that's open. And I'm not sure this is a super great way to implement it, because we have to take care that the order in which we draw things is correct. And I can show you what I mean. So how do you draw a door that's open? That's actually a bit complex, because let's include something else. Let's include just a wall, and there's many walls, so this is going to be wall 1. And wall 1 could be this one. So we'll say wall source is not 0 by 0, but it's tile size 0, and then tile size. And then that's the destination, draw texture. Okay. So we want to place a wall here, 1 tile down, then an open floor, and then this guy is how I think we're going to do it. So let's start by drawing a wall, and I think this position thing, it should be like the coordinates of the room. So it will be actually be this point, I guess. I think that's too complicated. So we're just gonna say it's always the top left corner of whatever we're drawing. So it's gonna be here. So we draw a wall, then we also need a floor. So where's the floor gonna be? Let's take, I don't know, this guy. So we're gonna go over 6, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 1 down. So let's say tile size times 7, tile size. And the destination is, as always, that. Okay, so now let's draw a floor at Do we have like some kind of, no, probably have to look in ray math. So do we have like add? Do we have add y, something like that? Okay, so anyway, so what was it? It's a vector to add. Vector to add, position, and then just gonna make a constant called down, and we're gonna scale it. Let's start with that just to see how it looks like. So we need this, and maybe it's static. And it's going to be tile size. Great, so we draw a room, and then we draw a this guy. And where do we draw it? We draw it in down, and we do the scale of 2, which I'm going to put here. Okay, so we need to include ray math. Okay. Now let's see if we can do some macro magic. And then we'll go forward to the next if, and I think that's a good macro. Okay. Now, initializer is not constant. Okay, so we have something clearly went wrong though. Let's remove it. Let's see what happens. Ah, okay. So I forgot I added it there. Okay, so let's see. It is drawing something, and then it's drawing this guy. So I think one issue that we have is that we need to scale this thing. So is there a scale? So scale? Yeah. So we need to vector to scale this guy by the scale. Great. Still, it's not in the right position because because they're drawn in the same spot. That's a bit annoying, so we actually have to do this. You cannot draw them in one call. Okay, so does that look like, not GIMP, sorry. Does that look like the demonstration? Not really, actually. And actually it looks like it's not gone down far enough. So, because we also have to scale here. So maybe that's not so good. It's a bit annoying, actually. So what we're gonna do is do it a bit of a different way. We're just gonna always scale this guy, so it sounds like it would be easier to use. The same here. And the same here. Let's move scale. So basically we only do the scaling until the very end, just before we draw. And then these functions can call each other without any problem. What did I do wrong now? Too few arguments to vector scale. Oops. Okay, and all of these, they have to be cast to vector 2s. Hold up. Hold up. Let's make a function for this. So we're gonna scale a rectangle, and it's gonna be scaled by a scale factor. And Copilot, please do it. And then we're just gonna scale rect room, not the source, but the destination. All right, there we go. So now the nice thing is we can like use natural coordinates that are just like 1 to, you know, integers, and then we can at the very end apply some kind of scale factor and it still just works. Let's get rid of this hello game. And the final thing we need for the store is some kind of wall here. So we need to look at the tile set, and we have it down here, and it's like 5 and 6. Well, we need this one, I guess, so it's 6 and 6. And this guy we're gonna call it's a wall, but it's like up wall. I'm not sure what to call that. Right, so if element and element up wall 1 is not 0, then we draw that. Okay, so what did we say? We said it was 6. And it has, of course, just tile size as the size. Where's the destination? That's pretty easy. We gotta scale it, then we gotta draw it. And now in here, we're gonna say draw this thing. We're gonna go, wait, why did we draw? Ah, no, so this is of course not that. So it should be part of this drawing a door that's open. However, we need to add another down. And that's it. It's the wrong part of the texture, but how did it go so wrong? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it actually, it's 5, 5. Okay, and now we have sort of this opening here. There's something that's a bit annoying, which is this thing. Like there's like a line here. And how are we gonna fix that? Because if we go look at the tile set, there are these lines here around that sort of indicates that there's a wall, but clearly we don't want that when we have it like open. So we actually need to go a little bit beyond the tile that we are on for that piece of ground. But how do we handle that in a nice way? We can have that on open. So this floor has to be scaled a bit extra in the X direction. And in the interest of keeping things simple, let's just add a couple of pixels there. Okay. So now it looks like this, so that looks quite good. So as the last thing in this video, let's add also a door on the other side. So it's gonna be this thing. Actually, do I have tabular? I do have tabular, so is it like that? Okay, nice. Nice. These are all gonna be 1, and then we're gonna say increment those. Great. So, we needed something else, not another left. We needed a right. And down here, if we get a right, that's not what I wanted. I wanted right. The wall is the same. The floor is the same. And the only thing that's different is this up wall, which needs to be up wall 2. And up wall 2 is located, if I'm not mistaken, to the left of up wall 1. Yeah. So it's basically the same, except we go 1 less, and I think that should do it. And we didn't actually call it, so let's do right. And we don't want to draw it there, we want to draw it at at 5 times tile size and tile size. Maybe we just do that. And now you see an issue here that we're kind of extending. So actually, that was not good enough. Let's go back to the floor. That's a bit annoying. I think it means we either need like an extra argument that is a padding, I don't want to do that right now, so let's simply add another floor that has the padding on the other side. Oops, 5, 6, 7, and let's align this again. And okay, so that's floor number 2, and when we draw this one, we're actually going to draw floor 2. And still that's not correct, because then we also have to add it over here. So we go all the way to the edge. And now we actually have enough to draw we can extract this into a function maybe that we're gonna call void draw room left right door. It's not great, and we're probably gonna have to develop a better interface. And let's add a position where it's drawn. And here we're going to say draw. See, I can't even remember. Draw room, left, right door, and we're going to add it at 0, 0. We also need the scale, that's correct. And we still can draw it, but now we can draw another room. And that one we want to place at tile size times 6. And now we can draw a little map. Let's downsample it. And now you can imagine that we can say, okay, for I less than 5, whatever, just draw some rooms next to each other. And now we can make a little map. Okay, I think that's gonna do it for this video, and I will see you in the next one.